a Zerg player coming up here, which is MorroW. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce this. We have at the top left-hand corner of Metalopolis, MorroW, who formerly was a Terran player who now switches over to Zerg whenever he plays against Protoss or against other Zerg, or against other Terrans, I believe. He switches over to Zerg. Yep. So very, very interesting. We have MorroW here for Mouse, and down in the right-hand corner, we do have the winner from the previous game. That is Tails. And here's game number 2, man.
There we go. And MorroW is, in fact, in Korea at the moment. So these games are being played on the Korean server. These ones right here. And we're going to see what he's going to be able to offer against his opponent here. As Tails was actually at a big disadvantage that last game. But he was able to attack at just the right time and hold off anything that was coming out of Hasselblad's for a good period of time. And as it sat, pulled himself a nice advantage with that timing attack, hitting just when Hasselblad's had moved into all that investment.
Yeah, very good timing, very good game awareness, and good movement of troops as well. I just want to reiterate again, the movement of the Colossus up on the cliff and then able to wrap around the natural was one of the key decisions that he had to make, which allowed him to get that victory. So he thought that through. He knew he wasn't going to expand and go into a 2-base scenario. He had to kill off that Nexus, and not only did he do that, he also killed off the enemy Protoss forces at the natural. So he was able to take out his opponent, and here he is. That's Tails, and he's here in the game number 2 between himself and MorroW, and it looks like he's going to go for the Forge Fast Expand.
Forge Fast Expand? If you guys saw Naniwa's Twitter not too long ago, he said Forge Fast Expand or die trying. And it was an apt quote. We certainly saw him do just that at MLG Providence as he Forge Fast Expanded his way into the finals and then died trying when Leenock did Roachling all-ins basically the entire time.
I gotta say I disagree with that. I mean, Protoss players, you have other ways to get around the Protoss versus Zerg matchup. You can still go, I think, with the 1-gate expand or the 3-gate expand, especially on maps that don't afford you the reliability of getting a Forge Fast Expand, such as Zelnaga Cavern, such as possibly Metalopolis. I know that you can build the Forge and the Gateway and the core and the cannons so that it lines up into your Nexus from the ramp, but it's still somewhat vulnerable to a Zerg player who wants to go aggressive like Leenock, Roachling aggression, Roach Baneling, any combination thereof, and if you don't kind of adapt your playstyle, then a lot of Zergs, such as Leenock July Zerg, will be able to take advantage of that.
Very safe build out of MorroW so far, though. Pool first so we can get up those links to deal with any sort of shenanigans from this pro blocking the natural.
Absolutely.
On top of that, he bypasses gas so we can get up the 2 early queens and make sure that his economy and injects are started as early as possible. And he is setting up for a nice little macro game, it appears, whereas Tails, on the other hand, he's got his first gateway down, his Nexus coming up as well. Decided to put down Nexus after Photon Cannon, so he too taking the little bit safer Forge Fast Expand route.
Yeah, and I think you kind of have to on this map. I mean, it's very rare you'll ever see a Protoss player expand without getting the cannons down on a map like Metalopolis first.
Right.
So he is going to go ahead and get those cannons, get the Nexus. He's getting 2 gas as well. So probably going to see some early gas expenditures here, whether that goes into a Stargate or into a bunch of sentries. We'll have to see.
And he hasn't started mining quite yet. There we go. Now Tails making his 6 probes up there. As MorroW actually taking a very, very quick third in response to this, so doesn't want to just pressure. The Leenock approach in MLG Providence was, of course, just outright pressure off of 2-base Roachling. Sometimes if your initial base, or if your initial expansion is denied, there's 1-base Roachling pressure, and it works pretty well against Naniwa. But MorroW taking the more macro routes, just letting Tails have, MorroW taking the more macro route, yes, letting Tails have that early expansion, and just going to go ahead and try and out-macro him.
Yeah, I think MorroW's going to take the more conservative route here. We're most likely not going to see any kind of a Roachling, Roach Baneling, anything like that now, as he's already grabbed the 3rd expansion, and he's starting to drone up right now. So he is going to take that kind of conservative route. He will want to get an Overlord into the base pretty soon, though, because we can see that Tails is going for a Stargate. So he is putting those 2 gases to use. He's going to try to take an early tech to the skies here.
Yes.
And on this map, I like it because you can get a quick Void Ray out. You can cross the very small chasm quickly and get into the Zerg main and start to disrupt the mining activities.
Very cute placement for the Stargate as well. If this Overlord decides to sack itself, it'll take as long as possible to actually see the Stargate, thus giving MorroW less time to prepare. Or if he tries to come right up to the front, he will actually be able to see it before the Photon Cannon kills him, but he knows he's going to sack the Overlord and may decide to take a little bit longer route. So, cute little positioning out of Tails. MorroW, on the other hand, he's still just on 1 gas, continuing continuing to mine off of it continuously,
Is that
though.
Overlord going to go in?
Let's see.
Yes, it is.
Here it comes, and it's actually going to see a bunch of gateways coming up.
That's surprising. There we go, Morrow, resetting that rally a little bit. You really, if you're going to send the Overlord in there 99 times out of 100, it's probably going to die anyways. I'm a big proponent of just sending it in there, do its job for the Swarm, just to die, figure out what's going on. Much better to sack 100 minerals now and find out rather than losing the game outright. So will he see the Stargate? No!
Oh!
He pulls away. I don't know about that, Cats.
Oh, he turned around at
But he's going to see the Void Ray.
second.
He is going to see the Void Ray anyways because it revealed himself on the Overlord.
And we already did have an Evolution Chamber coming up, and MorroW, of course, dropping down two more queens right away. So he's going to be pretty well defended against this Void Ray. It's just going to take a bit of time. Surprised he hasn't started any Spore Crawlers quite yet. Actually dumped all of his resources into Zerglings and melee attacks.
Yeah, just a single queen here, or a single Void Ray here. You can actually deal with that if you have two queens. Unfortunately, MorroW does not have two queens here, and now the Void Ray is charged up. He's gonna have to bring it back to the help of another queen, but that Void Ray is falling it down. There's not enough energy for a transfuse. Now, will MorroW be able to pick off this Void Ray as it retreats? Does not look like it. And Tails with a good play here. Actually has a proxy pylon place on the low ground. Is trying to warp in a couple of Zealots as well. This could be a little troublesome for MorroW.
Yeah, definitely. So both of the queens have already fallen. The Roach one has not come up quite yet. The abundance of Lings, though, is actually proving its worth a little bit as the Zealots are going to be mitigated a little bit as more queens start to filter in now. Two Spore Crawlers are being started, but they're actually outside of the natural. More Zealots making their way into the natural as well, as these Zealots are actually doing quite a bit of damage, economic damage as well.
My god, this is very interesting from Tails, just going with Void Ray Zealot here. And really, if you've only got queens, you're not going to have enough support for to deal with the Zealots. Zealots are absolutely great against queens. And if you have Zerglings, yes, you can deal with the Zealots, but you don't have anything to do with the Void Rays. And now, could the hatchery go down in the main? This is going to be really close. The Zealots are actually turning around to hit the Zerglings rather than the hatchery, which I think is a mistake. I think Tails could have killed off that hatchery if he wanted to, but now he may have lost his opportunity. The hatchery is at 200 health. It is starting to regenerate. One of the Void Rays goes down as well. Can Tails finish off this hatchery or not? He's getting the charge right now. More Zealots coming in. I think that MorroW could be in trouble if he loses this hatchery. He's going to be in such a bad spot, and the hatchery goes down.
The hatchery does go down indeed. Looks like the Roaches are going to be able to deal with these Zealots that are sitting on the low ground. However, here's what I'll give MorroW. Yes, he is down that base, I grant you, but he's going to be able to put that up pretty quickly. However, this was a huge attack out of Tails. He spent a ton of resources trying to get that down. I'm not saying MorroW's ahead. Losing that hatchery is not good for him in any way, shape, or form. But I do believe that there's a possibility for him now, if he just really commits to his macro. He's expanding at the same time that he's retaking his main to try and macro his way back into this.
Yeah, there's a good point there, because Tails did commit quite a bit there. He lost, I think, 3 Void Rays, a ton of Zealots. So the Zealots were really a big expenditure too, because rather than probing up that entire time, he was expending that into 100 mineral Zealots every single time. And out of all of that, he actually didn't kill any drones. He just killed a hatchery. Yep. So while it is the main hatchery, it's a big loss. The drone count is still pretty saturated here. So MorroW, if he can get these 2 expansions down again, or I guess the main and the new expansion, and start to get the drones out across the field and start to mine, he should be able to get back in this game.
Yeah, it looks like it. As that hatchery's just about to finish up in both places, we already see the shadow of a pylon being put down, but MorroW is patrolling back and forth with his Zergling. And there we go. Queen's now starting to do damage to the Void Rays that are here over at the third. It looks like that queen is going to fall, though, but a Spore Crawler will sit itself down as a couple more queens make their way out.
Yeah, I think that the queens and the Spore Crawler here should be able to defend against these 2 Void Rays. Pretty minimal damage that Tails is going to be able to excrete here out of these 2 Void Rays. Maybe a few more drone kills, and he's going to have to pull out of there as the anti-air coverage is just too good. Meanwhile, though, there are some Zealots being warped in next to that pylon, but the Roach is already there. So the second wave of aggression from Tails doesn't really do much, and I think MorroW has got himself back in this game.
Yeah, but Tails is aware of the 4th base now, so we'll see if he tries to pressure into the main at the same time, because these Void Rays are actually having a field day with the Roaches out there. The queens are just lumbering their way across the map.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Well, it looks like the Void Rays going to be pushed away now. They're going to get a little bit of a pulse charge against his hatchery, but that's going to be pretty minimal, because all these queens are in hot pursuit of those 2 Void Rays. I do like how MorroW just produced so many queens this game, and the raw amount of queens that he's got not only will allow him to re-macro into this game, but also spread creep and deal with these Void Rays pretty well, and he's done that so far.
And we have Immortals and just mass Zealots for the time being. A few sentries were warped in beforehand. So he does have quite a strong anti-Roach-Ling offense at the moment. But with MorroW moving up to that infestation pit, could be a different story altogether here in a couple of minutes.
No Spire coming out from MorroW?
None. Not at all. No, none finished or anything.
Interesting. So it looks like he's going to rock the Ling Roach Infestor style against Protoss here. But he does see the Colossus Bay. I call it the Colossus Bay. It pretty much is in this situation. He sees it with the Overseer. I'm interested why. I'm a little curious why MorroW isn't deciding to throw out an Spire. Corruptors are really, really good against Colossus. But I guess for now he's going to forego that. Instead, going to go with Roach Ling Infestor, which can work as well. You do have to micro a little bit better. And we'll see. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, definitely. Here come the Void Rays once again. Start denying creep tumors. So they have an observer in tow. No, actually no observers on the field
How did you see that
all.
creep tumor? Was it
Tails.
just morphing?
That was the one that was just morphing.
Okay.
I thought he was bringing in an observer behind to just clear up a few creep tumors and then jump away.
Right.
But no, that's not the case. Our first few infestors are about to hit the field, though. No
he didn't get pathogen glands.
Has been started, so it's going to take 25 seconds for those infestors who actually have a fungal growth ready.
Yeah, they're worthless here, except for maybe a couple of spitted out infested Terrans, but that's really not going to be worth the cost. He's really going to want to get fungal growth ready to go here. Unfortunately, will not have energy in time, and it looks like MorroW is making his moves here. Picks off a Spore Crawler at the top, so that's going to help just a little bit, and with the Colossus not having to worry about ground-to-air fire. But if Tails wanted to push right now, which I think he will, he could do a lot of damage. MorroW, though, is set up for a huge flank. The entire Protoss ball is on the creep right now in all three directions, all 360 degrees, in fact. And here comes MorroW, not only from the left, is he going to come from the south as well? Yes, he will. He does not have energy for fungal. There is one fungal that goes down. There's a second fungal that goes down. So the Infestor is finally getting enough energy. The Colossus holding pretty strong here, though. There aren't any Corruptors in the air. I think Tails' Air Force is going to stay alive, but so many Roaches coming in at the last second, and it looks like it will be enough to take out Tails' army.
Nice job. He does pick off one Colossus right away. Looks like the second falls as it tries to retreat, and MorroW's reinforcements here are pretty good. However, I will say that the supplies are now starting to favor Tails by quite a bit, as he didn't lose any workers in that exchange. Whoa. But there have been 40 lost for MorroW now. Now 41, and that number is actually going up.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of drones going down, so MorroW here has to pull himself together. He's got to destroy this Stalker Ball, which shouldn't be too hard to do considering there's no more Colossus. When the Protoss backbone is taken apart, Roaches and Lings eat up Stalkers for breakfast, and we can see that kind of happening right now. There's really no anti-air to deal with the Void Ray, though, so the Void Ray is having a heyday, and 6 more Zealots, maybe 7 actually, going to join the fray here, and those are going to help so much. In fact, if Tails wanted to, he may have an opportunity to maybe pick off the lair at the natural, which would be another devastating blow to tomorrow.
Definitely, and here comes some anti-air now, as it
Wow,
looks like that
Queens.
Void Ray is finally going to be pushed away, but it has 22 kills
my
already.
goodness.
Goodbye, 22 kill Void Ray.
No, it's going to stay
actually gonna
alive.
move away. Nice job. Zealots are finally starting to get shot back now, but we see Tails moving to a third base, and now MorroW is under 50 supply.
Wow, this is terrible for MorroW. Let's look at the income. 23 drones, under 53, and this is such a more devastating blow than losing the main hatchery like he did before in this game. If you lose this many drones, it's very, very difficult to recover from, and now if he loses the hatchery as well, that's just going to compound on his problems, man.
Yeah,
that hatchery
certainly
is at 500. It's dropping. I think the hatchery is going to go down.
Yep, it really is. Looks like he could actually go after the Spore Crawler. No, nice positioning there by MorroW. It looks like with good control, though, the hurt Void Ray does get away, and the hatchery falls. Two actually aren't even mining. Just 2 hatcheries just are not mining right now.
Yeah, MorroW is in a terrible position right now. 60 supply. Oh,
he does re-kill
Not
the
bad.
third down here at the bottom right for Tails. So Tails is still just off of 2 bases and
pretty
running
much
out of
won.
resources.
Yeah, pretty much won because he's running out of resources. So actually, MorroW did exactly what he needed to do considering the circumstances to stay alive in this game. So he's staying alive. If he loses this Roach Horn, that would suck quite bad. He has an Infestor with full energy, though. He gets a fungal off. It will kill off a single Void Ray. That's going to help. And if he can get just a few more Queens or Infestors out, he could deal with these 2 Void Rays, but he's losing his primary tech facilities here, the spawning pool, the Roach Warren. If he loses the spawning pool as well, I don't know how he's going to get back in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tough, as that Queen is going to go down here in just a second.
Oh,
no, survives
wow.
with 1 hit point, and another Void Ray is killed.
The spawning pool.
Yeah.
Oh, he loses the spawning pool.
And he's lost his Roach Warren, so all he
He
has
can't
is
produce anything except Infestors.
Mass Infestor with no gas right now. That doesn't work too well.
Yeah, he is in a really, really bad spot right now. He's got to kill off this Void Ray. I think he will finally get that done. Oh, my God.
Gets away with just 11
No,
HP.
this is...
Overlords! Oh, he's having
It's
a field day
Overlord
right
hunting
now.
season.
Yeah, he's got to get those away. But that's fine. He's got a lot of supply overhead at the moment. And here comes the next big push out of Tails.
Yeah, this
push. And I don't know if there's any way for MorroW to defend against that.
If he can't produce roaches and zerglings, which he can't, I don't know how he's going to deal.
Building. There's his spawning pool coming back up, but that's got a while.
Yeah, I don't know how he's going to deal with this Protoss ball. I mean, all he's got is some infestors. They don't have max energy. He doesn't have a standing ground army to deal with this Protoss ball. If Tails wanted to, I think he could just 1-8 into the natural and take it apart.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. That's tough for Zerg.
Yeah, it's getting pretty rough right now. But MorroW is slowly but surely starting to rebuild. He's getting there where he's actually catching up in economy, mostly due to the fact that Tails is just long-distance mining until this Nexus actually does finish up. So MorroW's going to have an opportunity to re-drone close to his opponent, but he just has 3 Colossi and a ton of Stalkers, and with 1/1 upgrades, that's going to be ugly. There are quite a few Infestors out there, but he is going to need just mind-bogglingly good control.
He's going to need miraculous fungals here, and here's his opportunity to do it, actually. The Protoss ball is relatively clumped up. I guess he's going to buy time, though, for that spawning pool to finish, which is just finished, so now he can get some Zerglings out. But we don't see Zerglings coming out. In fact, it's just a bunch of Infestors in the natural getting lasered down. Good force fields from MVP Tails to ensure that the natural will get picked off, and now MorroW actually running all of his army, everything he's got, his entire production, over to the 4th here, and I think he's going to set up shop. Oh, I like the spine crawler idea, so he's going to try to make a last stand at the 4th and maybe kind of swing around and pick off the gold. If he could do that, he could get back in this game.
If he finds a way to get the gold, he's all right, because he'll be behind this pretty defensive position, and it'll almost be like a siege position, so to speak, with as many spine crawlers and infestors to lock down units as he'll have. But that's quite the task, as Tails now has 100 supply in army at the moment, 3 Colossi, 22
those 2 infestors.
Stalkers, and they do get off 1 or 2 fungal growths, but unfortunately that's not going to be enough. Not to justify their cost.
Well, it looks like we are going to have the swing around that I was referring to, but
yeah,
there's a couple of cannons here, so they're going to have to work through the cannons first. Pylons, too, could provide reinforcements in a timely manner. Both players going for a base race in this situation here. Don't blame MorroW, because he knows he can't slam in a head-on collision with that Protoss army. It's just not going to work out. It's like a little Hot Wheels car against a big 14-wheel big rig truck. It's just going to be an absolute slaughter.
Taylor was trolling us outside. I don't know if you saw, but here comes Tails now. He does take out the... I mean, we can't even call it the 3rd anymore. It's just one of the only remaining bases that are still up for MorroW at the moment. MorroW was going for full-on base trade, though. I do not think this favors him, just due to the fact that he's so far down in supply at the moment.
Yeah, but I don't think he can...
about even. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
What other choice does he have?
He doesn't have a choice.
Right. I definitely agree with that.
He might actually be able to, if he can sneak an extractor or something across the map. He's expended all of his energy on his infested Terrans now.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before those come back up.
I like the... Ooh, that is very smart.
The in-game map editor being played for Tails, and MorroW just really doesn't have much else at the moment. Now down by almost 60 supply.
If you actually think about it, he has enough sentries to perma-field that ramp. But Infested Terrans come up, so that is negated.
Yeah, do they have upgrades? No. It doesn't really matter, though, I guess. As eventually the force fields will go down and let everything else up the ramp. And now...
Is there any pylons being hidden on the map?
No, not at all.
What is that?
Oh. Nope, that's an observer.
You know what?
He would have to kill this so quick, though. Here it comes. We're going to see if he can do it. It is actually a race to the end here.
He could fungal the ramp and use it as a force field to keep the Stalkers out of the main.
Oh my god, if he actually kills these structures...
He needs to do a fungal field! Do the fungal field!
Oh, let's see if he does. No, the Stalkers are inside of the main now. There's the GG. MorroW is out, and coL.MvP goes up 2-0 in this best of 9.
So we didn't see the Destiny fungal field. That was a situation where it would have applied. But unfortunately, no.
There it is. All right, guys, we're going to move into game number 3 here in just a second.
수상장